It's not necessary, but do like or dislike the video. Sweet Tooth Season 2, 2023. It started with a scientist named Buddy. He comes to the snowy mountains to find a cure for a virus. Here he found a boat, which had a lot of dead bodies in it, whose condition was very bad. In addition to this, a jasmine flower and a diary for which he had come here, after which the scene shifts to some children in a jail, who were not normal children, but were hybrid. That means they were born like half human and half animal. That too, because of this virus. To fight this virus, some people made their own team, whose name was Last Man Army. They consider these children to be the cause of this virus. That's why they find such children from different parts of the world and imprison them in this jail, so that experiments can be done on them. Now all these children start making plans to get out of here, showing each other their pain. Now we are shown a doctor, who was also looking for a cure for this virus for many years, who was with his wife at this time. Because his wife's condition was very bad, she was also a victim of this virus. Although the cure for this virus had not yet been found, but the doctor had kept her alive, with the hope that one day I will find a cure for this virus. And in all this, the general of the Last Man Army was helping him, so that the doctor can make a cure and cure his wife too. And the general will get that cure, but because it had been a long time, the general's patience was running out. He tells the doctor that you have to do something as soon as possible, otherwise your wife will be killed very soon because of this virus. All the children were remembering a woman named Amy, because she had saved them all from this cruel world, and all these children considered her their mother. The children thought that somehow if we reach the radio room, then we can contact Amy, after which they will come to save us. But to go to that room, they needed a key, for which they sell it to a friend of theirs, who could dig the ground and leave, and he comes back with the key very cleverly. After that, the main character of these children, Gus, goes to the radio room with his friend, but the army had seen them, who again bring them to jail and burn them. Gus was a hybrid because he had 2 horns on his head. Gus still encourages the children that you do not lose hope. I hope one day we will definitely get out of here. Now the army comes here and takes Gus with them to experiment. Because according to the doctor, the treatment of the virus requires the body of these special children. The doctor talks to Gus. Gus is 10 years old, while the victims of this virus can only live for 9 years, which the doctor understood, that this means that these children are not the cause of this virus, because all the children were more than 10 years old. The 10th doctor says that you do not worry. I will help you find a cure for this virus, in which the doctor also promises. Okay, then I will not harm you or any of your friends. Now we see a friend of Gus, Beer, who was a human. She was talking to Scientist Buddy on the phone. Here we know that Gus considers Scientist Buddy to be his mother. Because he had made Gus with his experiments, she tells Gus's friend Beer to take the CD and leave his house quickly, because the Last Man Army will come there looking for you. On which Beer takes the CD and quickly hides from the army and runs away from there. Now Gus's friend Amy and her friend enter the jail to save the children. The jail was actually a zoo, and somehow she wanted to save the children. But in the end they are caught and they have to return like this. But on the way, she left a toy there. As soon as the children found it, they realized that they had both come here, which they will come again to save, with which the children were very happy. The doctor calls Gus again to do the experiment, this time to remind Gus of old things. He makes the gas of Jamnapal and leaves it, and as soon as this happens, the virus begins to intoxicate all these people, as if she was hypnotized, with which now Dr. Gus could ask whatever he wanted. When Gus went to his old memories, he found out that there is a lab to bring this virus into the world. There Amy and her friend come back to the zoo again, and there they were hiding and fixing a truck that a drone comes here, which is obvious that the Last Man Army had sent to catch them. So now they start the truck quickly and start running from here to save their lives from the army. Seeing them, the children felt that they were definitely coming to help us, with which she was very happy. But when the truck left without taking the children from there, all the children were very sad. Amy and her friend somehow had to save their lives from the army. But now she decides that we will also bring other people with us, and that time we will somehow save the children and take them. So the children decide that we will help ourselves. And again, they start planning to leave from here, on which Gus tells them that we can all go to my house, which is in this jungle, where my dad had hidden me. Now we found out from the past kick scene, that a scientist who was actually a friend of a big scientist, he experimented in that lab, because he had a lot of questions in his mind, like how the world was made. So to get answers to all these questions, he did all this. Now in the present time, the doctor goes to know more about that lab, because he was sure that now only I can finish everything. Amy also calls a lot of her friends, so that they can help them, and to save the children, they can go with them. Gus and the doctor reach that lab with the help of an army man, but they do not get anything there. When the army man tells them to leave from here, then the hybrid child comes and attacks them, who was completely wearing a crocodile. At first, Gus started running away from him, but then he got control over his fear and befriended him. But then the last man army man comes there and injects the crocodile child and makes him unconscious. He is immediately imprisoned. Now the general reached the same town where Amy and her friends were. Here the general gives everyone the cure of this virus, which was a medicine, encourages everyone by showing, tells everyone to join with him. Seeing this, Amy and her friends were very sad, because they knew the truth, that this cure is being made by killing their special children. In this lab, after investigating, Gus and the doctor found a video of that scientist, in which he had mentioned his experiment, that me and my fellow scientist buddy were doing a special experiment, in which we were able to find a way to live a good life, without any pain and disease, in which finally, during the experiment, we were able to make Gus. Now seeing this, the doctor's mind went completely wrong. That what is this, but then to do research. He takes all this as evidence. Gus's friend Beer becomes a part of the last man army to reach Gus. She also came to their base. When Gus came back to the zoo, all the children were very angry with him and started hating him, because one Gus lied to him that our friend has run away from here, although the army had caught him and killed him. And the second is that everyone knew that Gus is the most different, the most special. That's why the army takes him for the experiment and does nothing with him. So because of this, all the children were planning to leave. With the help of the things brought from the doctor's lab, now he himself experiments and finally makes the cure of this virus. Amy and her friend came to meet their other friends, because they had agreed to take the children out of the zoo. The reason was that to save the children, and to defeat the last man army, they were going to get a lot of money. Gus's best friend, who could dig the ground and leave, he comes to Gus. And while encouraging him, he says, "My friend, don't worry. I believe in you. I am with you to get out of here. Now I will also help you." Then, with the help of Gus, he goes out of the small tunnel to get help. But on this, a hybrid girl started getting angry at Gus, because he was afraid that his friend might be in danger. When the general came to know that the doctor has made the cure of this virus, then he was very happy. But the dishonest general takes away the cure from the doctor and does not let him help his wife, because now he wanted to take more work from the doctor. Amy keeps asking her friend about her past, because often he used to remember his past and get sad. So today he finally tells that I was part of the last man army before, because he had promised me that he will help me find my hybrid girl and my wife, because of which I caught a lot of hybrid girls and handed them over to the last man army. But when I realized that I was saying this wrong, then I left that army, and then I met Gus. After hearing all this, Amy was very sad, because she was feeling very bad for all the captured children. The last man army people came to the children and started trying to bother them, because of which Gus got angry. So he attacks a man with his horn. The horn pierces his leg and injures it, and by giving a chance, he immediately runs away from here, but went ahead and collided with the general. Their Bear goes to catch his first mission, that is, to catch these hybrid children, because if she succeeds in this, she will be able to meet Gus. Amy and her whole team also go to attack the last man army, that too with full preparation, but because Amy was angry with her friend, so she did not take her with her. But he was Gus's friend, how would he not go? So he takes his bus and chases him. The general was very angry with Gus, that's why he scares Gus a lot. Then to teach him a lesson, he cuts off one of his horns and locks him back in jail. Seeing which all the children were very worried for him. Again, they make friends with him. Now before the final meeting, the doctor again tests the cure. But again in the test, there was a virus in the cure, because of which the doctor was very worried. But his wife, who had been waiting for the cure for many years, and was fed up, she explains to her husband that you will speak the truth in the meeting, so that there is a riot there. In the meantime, there is a riot there, and we get a chance to escape from the jail of the general. After which all the group leaders come to the general for the meeting of the cure, but the general does not let the doctor say anything, showing a map of a city in front of everyone. He hopes that everything will be fine as before. There the children make fools of the people of the Last Man army according to their planning. By making them unconscious, they come out of that prison. Now the general knew that all the group leaders are experts in something or the other. The general will need them to make a new city. That's why he showed the map to everyone, and to some extent everyone likes his plan. The children were trying to escape, but then a child was caught by the army. Seeing this, Gus puts the army behind him. He tells all the children to run away. Gus reached the general's meeting. Here the secret of the general is revealed to everyone, that the general is making a cure by killing special hybrid children like us. And listening to this, no leader of the group feels good at all. Because of this, the general got very angry. To kill Gus, he imprisons him, but the general's brother, who was fed up with his own atrocities, frees Gus. Before the meeting ends, all the leaders start going from there. But the general comes to one of them and starts talking. He turned out to be more dishonest than the general. All the resources of the other leaders, i.e. all the resources, kills them to take control. Amy's friend talks to the army men on the phone that there is going to be an attack on you. I will give you the details of the attack, but what if you hand Gus over to me? Now Gus's friend comes out of the ground, on which all the army men put guns. To save him, Amy's friend started fighting with him. He was snatching guns from them and killing them, but in this attempt, he himself gets injured and faints. Gus comes to the place where Amy's friend was imprisoned, saving himself from the army men. Gus and they became very emotional, seeing each other, holding each other's hand. They started looking at each other with love, because both were very good friends and were meeting after a long time. On one side, she reaches the beer zoo, while Amy had also reached the zoo to attack the plane with her team. On top of that, Amy throws chemicals on the zoo, because of which the general had to run away from here, but he leaves his army behind, so that he can find the hybrid child and imprison him again. Amy had come to the jail, but the child had already run away from there. Gus frees his friend from the jail, and now both left to find the other child. Because the child was not safe, Amy attacked the chemical. The whole family started going up through the rope, while a girl left to find. The general comes out and starts attacking Amy's plane, while the beer was running away from this jail environment, so that she can reach Gus. Meanwhile, she meets her friend and asks, "Why do you want to help Gus like crazy?" Then she reveals the secret that Gus has a friend who is my sister, but she does not know about this. And if Gus finds my mom, then I will reach Gus and meet my mom and sister. Hearing this, the beer's friend also agrees to help her. Amy reaches the lab while looking for the children, where all the experiments were being done. When she found out that such bad behavior is done with hybrid children, then she got very angry. Because of this anger, she sets the lab on fire. When the children were running away, the army came in front of them and blocked their way. But just in time, Gus and his friend came here, and he started fighting with the army, and so the children got another chance to run away. But for both of them, it was difficult to defeat the army. But Gus, when he saw his friend's worried face, he became very angry. By attacking everyone with his horns, he was getting worse. All the children also came back to help them, and by defeating such an army, they all come and sit in the bus. Now Amy was inside the zoo. Her team was fighting with the general. The general defeats them with his powerful weapons and leaves to come back to the zoo. The doctor also found out that this virus is in Gus, so he left the plan to run away and left to come back to the lab. Amy and Gus's friend also came to the other children in the bus. They run away from there in front of the general, so he had to accept defeat. When the doctor came back and found the lab on fire, he was very worried, and when he came out of there, his wife was also not there. Seeing this, he broke even more, because his wife had left him because of his madness. The children were happily moving forward in the bus, because they wanted to start their new life, but then suddenly they were attacked. To save everyone's life, Bear also comes here with his companions. Now the army tank helps them instead of attacking them. The bus was blocking their way. The army tank blows it up, because in it was the friend of all these children who could dig the ground and leave. Seeing this, everyone was very happy. Now Bear's friends left to fight the army last minute, while Bear came and met Gus, and now all the people are moving forward. Now we see Buddy in the past. When the government found out about their experiment, they attacked their lab, after which Buddy was hiding those evidences, that those people picked them up and took them with them. In the present, Bear met Gus's friend and was very happy, because this was his sister, but she does not tell him this secret. Now Amy makes all the children sit in the bus, but she does not go. Her friend came behind her to ask, "Why are you doing this?" Amy says, "Because I have this virus. I do not even want to take this cure, because it is made from my child's blood, and because the children needed them." So they sit in the bus with this bitter truth in their hearts, so that they can leave the children to the cabin. Till the next morning, these people were successful in reaching the cabin. When the children came, they were very happy that they will start a new life here. But they did not know that their mother Amy's life was in danger. Gus had his mother's tape. He runs it and listens. And this story goes back to the past, where we found out that the first effect of this virus was on a scientist, because she had applied the medicine made by Buddy and his fellow scientist, with the hope that maybe I will get a safe life from the disease. But the effect was reversed. He also became a victim of this virus. And then the virus started spreading like this. She asks the scientist Buddy about Gus, that he is also a cure, so make a cure from him and cure my virus, because I do not want to die, I want to live. But because Buddy thought Gus was her son, so she does not tell anything about him. She did not want to use my son to make a cure. Here Buddy's fellow scientist told her that my grandfather did all this before us. He was looking for a cure for this virus, and then he went to the mountains. Now when Buddy realized that it is not right for me and my son to go to a scientist, so to save her child from this cruel world, and to get the answer to all the questions, she went to that scientist's grandfather in the snowy areas. And this was the same scene that we saw in the beginning, and the corpse that Buddy found in the boat, that was of the scientist's grandfather and his companions. Now Gus decides, I will also go to the snowy area to find my mother, but his friend refuses to say this, that these children need you more than your mother. Amy tells all the children that I have also become a victim of this virus. Hearing this, all the children were very sad, because she was their mother. When everyone was sleeping at night, then they heard all kinds of voices. Vandersel was a friend of Bear, who was very injured. She says that the general warned me that I am coming here. The doctor comes and sits at the place where the flowers were in full bloom. She also started thinking about the flowers, from which she found out that really Gus is the cause of this virus. Knowing this, the doctor was very happy. There Amy decides to fight instead of running, because she understood that until the general is not stopped, he will not leave these children behind. That's why Gus, Amy, and their friend, they stop to fight the last man army, while the rest of the children are sent to a secluded place with Bear. Gus, who knew about every place here, together with his two companions, he starts preparing to trap the last man army, in which he was quite successful. Bear came to a secluded place with the children, while the general had also reached with his last man army, in which his brother was refusing to do all this by showing a gun. But the general was not going to listen to anyone, clearly refuses. Because of this, his brother also shoots, but the general was very clever. He had already known his brother's intentions. That's why he emptied the gun. By snatching the gun, he himself puts bullets in it, and shoots his brother and kills him. And once again goes to catch the hybrids with his army, but Gus had prepared very good traps for them, in which everyone starts getting stuck one by one. Someone's foot was stuck in the rope and he was hanging, so stones fell on someone. By getting stuck in the trap, after catching everyone, Gus's friend kills them one by one, and in the end, he also catches the general. But in the fight, the general injures Gus's friend, goes behind Gus. Seeing this, Amy hides Gus and takes the gun, and goes to stop the general himself. As soon as Gus's friend is caught by a soldier of the last man army, then sometimes the bear comes in a very different way and starts fighting him. For a long time, there is a great fight between them, and in the end, the bear defeats him. In the meantime, seeing a picture, his sister found out that the bear is my sister, but she goes ahead without believing it. She fights with Amy General, and first drops her by giving her a good punch, and then she puts her virus blood on her neck, by which now the general was also a victim of this virus. Seeing this, Gus runs away from here with the cure of the virus, so that the general does not get well by himself. To stop him, the general also ran behind, shoots at the leg and injures. Then he was going to catch Gus and kill him. That's when his other friends come here and attack the general. Gus's bear companion knocks the general down and tears him down. Gus was moving forward with the cure with a smile. because he felt that everything was fine, but from behind, the general shoots him and injures him, after which the general dies. Gus was also conscious. He thought that my mom and dad are stuck in a snowy area, and they need help. They are also not in good condition. So as soon as he gets well, he goes on a new adventure with his friends to find his mom and dad, during which they have to face all kinds of situations. But they were brave, and they were also happy that we defeated the general, and with this season ends here.